The Super Nintendo Entertainment System. What an era for video games. I actually don't know what it was like. I wasn't alive back then. The Snes was home to many beloved games like Super Mario World, A Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country, and the best game on the platform, Super Metroid. That wasn't an opinion, by the way. It was an objective and undisputed fact. Since I enjoy a lot of games that initially released on the SNES, I decided to check out my favorite ROM site, which I won't name because I'm not a snitch, and see what lesser known titles I could find. And those obscure games are what we're going to cover today. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that whoever is watching may have played some of these games before, and they might be a little less obscure than I thought, so I'm just going to play it safe by sticking the word probably into the title of this video. Crisis averted. We're going to start off with an honorable mention since by now many people know about this game, but it's just so wild that I feel the need to at least mention it. Hong Kong 97 is a public domain game for the SNES that released in 1995 where you play as Bruce Lee's unspecified relative, Chin, whose likeness is just that of Jackie Chan. As Chin, players are tasked with wiping out 1.2 billion communist immigrants who in the year 1997, which was in the future at the time of the game's release, are invading Hong Kong and skyrocketing the crime rate. Hong Kong 97 is notable to most who play it mainly because of the short music loop that plays over and over, and the use of an image of a real-life corpse of a man who died in the Bosnian War as the game over screen. On a lighter note, we're going to move on to a game that piqued my interest upon seeing it on the ROM site. Balls 3D. Balls 3D is a fighting game that utilizes what seems to be Super FX technology to render 3D environments and characters. In this game, you get to play as beloved characters such as Kronk, Boomer, Bruiser, Turbo, and Tsunami, just to name a few. After picking a character, you get thrown into a 1v1 deathmatch, and it's just kind of okay. I'm being generous too. With the way the characters control, it's pretty easy to beat your opponent once you get them cornered, or you could also just use a character with a long reach so your opponent can't even reach you without getting hit. The game is sort of okay overall, and there are fighting games with much better controls and mechanics, so there isn't much to say here. At least the music is funky. Now for a public domain ROM titled Sonic Still Image. Based on the name alone, I have a hunch about what this game is going to be. Yeah, that's about what I expected. You can do this though, so that's cool. Baby T-Rex. It exists. This game is a platformer where you play as a skateboard-riding dinosaur. Now upon hearing that, you would assume that this would be just about the coolest game to ever exist, and you know what? It's not bad. It's fucking garbage and I hate it. Listen, most of my knowledge of game design is from using Scratch and Roblox Studio as a kid, so I know I shouldn't be judging something I couldn't even begin to understand how to make. With that said, the controls can only be described as janky, and the enemy placement is bullshit. I spend a decent amount of time trying to get up these platforms, but there's an enemy at the top of the cliff that keeps hitting me with projectiles, causing me to fall to my death. I don't like this game. While I was looking for ROMs, I found this game compilation called Super 6-in-1 with basic SNES games packed onto it. The compilation itself is cool and all, but I'm mainly bringing it up because its picture on the website shows a modified 3DS with art from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and I'm not entirely sure what to make of it. In a similar vein, I found a game called Musia, which is an actual game that was licensed by Nintendo on the SNES, but for some reason the picture for it is Destiny. How does that happen? Next up is a game called Airwolf 92. Airwolf 92 is a game where you have to use a tank to blow up aircrafts, with different ones giving you a certain amount of points, and blimps resetting your score. After getting a certain amount of points, and committing what is probably the most severe act of terrorism humanity has ever seen, the game just ends. I'd be lying if I said Airwolf wasn't dead simple. The whole game can be experienced in less than a minute, and there's not even any audio, so you're just committing these atrocities in silence. I wish there was a little more to say about this ROM, but there isn't. Alright, I've been racking my brain trying to think of a transition into what I'm going to talk about next, but it's just so weird that I can't find a proper segue, so I'm just going to talk about it. On the website I've been getting these games from, there's an abundance of ROMs that contain slideshows of random women, seemingly taken from modeling photo shoots. There are a lot of these too, and I just can't help myself but ask, who are these for? I know who these are for now. Now that I'm really looking at this website, there are so many ROMs here that are seemingly just porn, among other questionable content. I feel like I need something to cleanse my brain after seeing the weird shit I just saw, so I'm just gonna play this Pokemon game I found. God damn it, this is the whole thing! Let's just finish this video up and look at the last game I have downloaded. I'm hoping to God that it's at the very least decent. Shoot Your Load is a game where you play as, I don't know, Star Trek? You just fly around with asteroid controls and shoot stuff while trying not to get shot yourself. There's an option for multiplayer, allowing for up to 4 players to battle each other, but I'm just wondering who on earth is inviting their friends over to play Shoot Your Load? Now, what conclusion can one reach after watching this video? I have no idea. I can't think of an outro that summarizes everything I've seen today, and I don't think I'll ever be the same. I hope I never have to talk about this again in my life.